Let's look at this together. I want us to hear this together.
The talking point for the Democrat hybrid today is that Jim Crow was alive and well in America, and I'm sure that some of the SPLC's actions have helped them make this argument. My first question is for you, Ms. Swain. In the 2024 presidential election, were you required to pay a poll tax before you voted?
No.
Okay. Were you required to pay a poll tax? Now, we're gonna finish looking at this. We're gonna finish looking at this. But now we all need to do our research. Look up civil war. Read some books. Start from there. That they actually enslaved people for what? How many years? 200 years? Something like that? Here in North America. They went from enslaving people to voting to give them rights to vote. Okay? Now, how do you go from being considered chattel to being a human and then a citizen and can vote? So, we are fighting on many fronts here when it comes to voting. Because for one thing, we started voting for who? And voting for what? To make our lives better. Voting for people to take leadership that will make policies and legislation and all that so we can live freely, happily, and live up under the Constitution. That's what we vote for. But we still have to get over this channel that was made from being a chattel to a human. We still ain't got over that yet. And as far as paying a toll tax, you see how many people are voting against their own best interests? They don't know how to vote. Now, usually you vote for your best interests, but we see that is not the case. I don't think that's ever really been the case. Because why are you spending $30 million to get elected? Because if you was to do the right thing and you are helping people, why you got to pay for them to vote for you? Wouldn't they vote for you anyway? Let's finish looking at this. I just wanted to say that.
When you vote at the voting locations, were you intimidated in any way with baseball bats, fire hoses, or dogs?
The only thing that intimidated me is that in my state that you go into, if you have to ask for a Republican ballot or a Democrat ballot, and if you are in a precinct that's predominantly Democrat, I think you would have a lot of fear.
What?
Question, man. For my Democrat colleagues and everyone on the left screaming Jim Crow 2.0, like I hear ad infinitum, let's take a moment to revisit what actual Jim Crow was. Jim Crow was a time when Black Americans could not sit in classrooms with white Americans. It was colored-only water fountains. It was beatings in the streets. It was lynchings. It was fear. It was public humiliation. My own father, who grew up in a segregated South in New Orleans, had to walk around to the back of a restaurant just to order a sandwich in the French quarters of New Orleans because
and now you are.
That was Jim Crow. And that is precisely
supporting
why it's so offensive to compare
racist, white supremacist, criminal,
rapists,
rapists.
and racial terror to showing a photo ID in a voting booth. And it's just as offensive when groups and organizations like these manufacture faux hate and racial tension.
Okay.
Requiring identification of vote is not oppression. It is not segregation. It is not racism. It is a basic standard that applies equally to every single American citizen, regardless of what you look like. You need an ID to board a plane. You need an ID to cash a check. You need an ID to buy alcohol. You need an ID to enter these very federal buildings. And by the way, attaining an ID in this country is an extremely...
Now, ever since I've been voting, I have had to use ID. Or if I mailed in my voting, I had to put down my license number, social security number, my address was there, and they supposed to check all that to make sure that all of that is correct. Now, if I tried to vote 2 or 3 times with the same number, wouldn't that show up?
Low bar. But somehow showing an ID to vote in America is now considered to be Jim Crow 2.0. This is not about civil rights. This is about political theater. And the Democratic Party survives.
I thought he was going to say something smart.
Democrats invoke the pain of the past because they have nothing to offer for the present. They don't want an honest debate. They want emotional manipulation. They want outrage.
Oh, brother.
As evidenced by our discussion in this very hearing today. They want Americans to fight each other because chaos is politically useful to them. Words like racism.
Oh, Jesus.
And Jim Crow 2.0. For the purposes of elucidating my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, let's take a hard look at what real Jim Crow was. Check out this one behind me. You see, this is Jim Crow. This is what Democrats call Jim Crow.
Okay.
See, that's Jim Crow. For whatever reason, this is what Democrats call Jim Crow. Slide, please. That is Jim Crow.
Okay, I can't take it. That is so idiotic. I've never heard not one person say it's wrong. Because, for one thing, Republicans, they cheat too. Okay? You look down the line of who are being convicted of cheating in elections, basically, most of them have been Republicans. So we all want people to be able to vote and honestly vote. Show your ID. Show where you live at, and you're in the right district. That's what we all want. So what is this about showing ID? It's called Jim Crow. Is he gonna have somebody? If they gonna show? Let me see if he gonna show a hanged body on a tree that is still happening now. This is ridiculous. This is why I can't look at it no more. We already see where this is going. Let's see what happens at the end. Let's watch and see what happens at the end. Let's see if he's gonna say something smart.
This is what Democrats call Jim Crow. I know that some of these images can seem to be very jarring to many of us that haven't experienced that over the course of the past 40 years of my lifetime. I never saw these things. I never experienced them personally, but I have family members who have and who did. And that's why it is extraordinarily
No, he ain't saying nothing smart.
Hate by funding the KKK is absurd. With that, I yield back the remainder of my time. Thank you for being here. Thank the gentleman.
Oh my God, that's all he said. Oh, this is shame. This is shame. This is shame. This is a man with presumably black parents is speaking that way about Jim Crow. Jim Crow should never be compared to anything. I'm going to say this before I get off. We have to stop living in the past and start living in the present and the future. Okay? Because pretty soon all of us going to be history. So what we do now is what our legacy will be for all history.